All right, hello everyone. Today I want to go over the GPT 5 series of models, everything from 5 to 5.2 Pro, and how I use them and how I think they're meant to be used. I want to go over this model specifically because I think it is the best for offloading long-running tasks. If you are interested in offloading huge tasks for 4 to 8 hours, this is the way to go right now out the box. And this is probably the best in terms of usage. It's the cheapest. If we're talking about like the $200 subscription, even the $20 subscription, I would say is very generous. Not to be glazing them so much, but I do think this model has a very well-defined use case and strategy to build incredible tools, software, and just generally tech. Um, First, I want to go over this image, which I think is very accurately portraying what my current job is in general when I talk about what I do on a day-to-day for work. So I sit in this business environment. The business environment is like the clients, the customers, the employers, the employees, uh, Twitter, uh, the investment markets, practically everything that goes into how we make our money. We sit there, we all do. And for me, I have been working as like an executor or orchestrator. So what this looks like on a day-to-day basis is I manage environments. So both the external business environment and the internal technical environment. I manage taste and quality. This cannot be overstated. We have a lot of code now and a lot of products now that look and work exactly the same. So if there's no unique taste, if there is no quality assurance in what you're building, you will not be seen. And it's not as easy as it was 10 years ago when you didn't have that much competition online. So you need to make things that look good, that do something unique, that are interesting. I know I have to know what to reach for. So what this means is I need to essentially know about and use a combination of tools for the current task at hand at any point in the day. And this is getting more important now than ever because you are expected to have increased output. And if you don't know how to use the tooling properly, your output will not be sufficient for the current market environment, which I believe is only increasing now. You have to know how to min-max things. You have to know how to find common threads to maximize the efficiency, like squeeze all the juice out of the lemon here. You have to get everything out of there that you can from any harness or tool or workflow. This is very essential as something you need to know for your job at the moment. You need to do testing, linting, hooks, quality assurance, docs, reading results, and then trimming and steering. Like that's your job now. And reporting on what you do. That's your job. And in order to do that effectively, you have your tools. And specifically talking about LLMs here, we have Claude and MiniMax. So I use these tools when I want to do computer use, autonomous actions, uh, demos, quick changes, research, uh, like horizontal research, anything that is not deep. So what I would define as deep here is something that requires long, consistent effort. That would be considered deep. With Claude, it's better for tasks where you are currently using it as an extension of yourself, like a very collaborative tool, and it's very good at that. I have to give it that. But then you have also the GPT-5 series of models, and I would say GLM as well, where they're very good for long-running tasks that you offload onto the model. So if you can get a specification that is deep enough, you can pass it on to GPT or GLM. Both of them are pretty consistent and you can have them work for 4 to 8 to 10 to 12 hours nonstop in a relatively accurate direction, which is super important. With Claude, it just kind of veers off more and more as time goes along. It doesn't handle long context well. And so it's best used for things that are like very interactive and quick. And GLM and GPT, I don't know about GLM, but with GPT, the long context is very good. I don't see that it gets dumber over time. What are the kinds of tasks that we would break down here? So I work in a series of build and clean. Build and clean. This is both professionally and open source and fun stuff. The build phase, you need to do research on what you're trying to accomplish. You need to gather context. You need to break that context into a plan, a scope, rules, and tasks. And then you need to execute on those tasks. Then you need to test, commit, push. Next is the sequence of like cleaning events. So as we know, these LLMs, they create code more than they modify existing code. They like to make new things. They like to make new features on top of features that they already tried to make. And over time, you get all this slop. And there have been research papers that show that the needle in a haystack, which is testing for long context fidelity, the test for needle in a haystack, it just gets significantly worse the more distractions there are, and distractions are things that are similar. So if you have a function in a file that is very similar to another function in that same file, you are going to confuse the model, and it's going to do things that you're not expecting. So you need to clean up, you need to organize, you need to refactor, you need to make things understandable, and you need to keep your mental model of the code up to date. And you only do that by refactoring, by figuring out like where's the waste, what are the common themes, what are the modules, how do we separate them out and put them together. And this is very traditional like software development work. With GPT, I use them to think deeply about something. Like, here's the entire code base, figure out where a new feature belongs. GPT can do that very, very easily. Next is debugging. So whenever I have like a complicated bug, I reach first for GPT because it's better at like finding surgically exactly what needs to change. It takes 45 minutes to do so, but it will fix it very quickly. And while it's doing it, you can do something else in the meantime. While it's doing it, you can do something else in the meantime. And you can run Claude and then do these like surgical quick changes while GPT is running in the background. Explorers, so again, gathering context, which is very important. And hey Siri, text Amy, say I will be down in 10 minutes. Okay, yeah, explorers. So give them a bunch of messy context and then have them organize it and figure out what's what and what connects to what. Scoping, so all of the above is very important in terms of scoping. How do you define a task? How do you then take that task and break it down into individual smaller tasks, divide and conquer? How do you sequence them properly? What are you doing between every single task? Are you running linting and type checks and tests or not? Architecture, deciding on like how to fit things into your system and how to build a system that is actually scalable, and chaining work. So chaining work is a strategy that I will show in a few minutes, but this is how I use GPT and GLM. With Claude and MiniMax, I use them again for fast execution. Prototyping, computer use, like go do this for me, go do my Docker container, go find the docs and then put them in this folder, reorganize my downloads, horizontal work. So this is working on many things at the same time, but not doing it deeply. Scripting, so creating scripts like one-time things that I need to do. Agentic behavior, if I need it to run in a loop and then do things and explore and figure things out and like try and fail, I use Claude for that. GPT doesn't do well with that type of environment from my personal experience. So this is like the way that I work. And now I want to go into the GPT strategy that I've been using pretty consistently, and I'm trying to consolidate it into a consistent, like standardized workflow. So depending on the difficulty of the task and the sensitivity of the task, I have the switcher here. I will use Pro sometimes, but mostly I will use just the highest thinking. And then I give it a file. It's this pretty standardized file. So it is, hey, I want you to create a new directory under this person, create a scope.md, create a rules.md, and then create tasks. And then each task is an individual task 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. And I do that so that I can chain work. So I give it this standardized like logical way of creating scopes, and then I give it context around my project. So what is specific about my project right now that I need to do? I get this made. This is just a markdown file that is like the master prompt that we use later. And then I will branch off and I will reuse this with different contexts. So I'm demonstrating it in the UI here, but this is what I do locally as well. The TUI is crowded as hell. We were using et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so now I have it interview me. And it tells me it has a fixed limit of questions, 10, and it asks me how I want to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. I give it this, and then it gives me the workflow. Once I have the workflow, I can go in here and I can then pass it to the model, and then I can send it a chain of messages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row, and then it will only see each one after some time. So essentially after the turn is done. So it can work on a single task that's well defined for about an hour. And if you were chaining 10 messages, you can get it to work for 8 hours pretty consistently. Hopefully this is helpful. I just wanted to get this video out there today since I promised myself I'd get one out 5 days a week. Thank you guys for being patient with me while I figure this out.